Beautiful, beautiful Éoaccí. Thank you so much for like stepping forward and yeah, coming on to the True Essence podcast. I had the privilege to yeah, meet you or experience you in a beautiful offering called The Way of the Rose. And yeah, I felt like a deep connection and deep remembrance meeting you in this space, and yeah, felt very grateful to be able to experience you in that way. But for all the beautiful souls who are joining throughout all space and all time, would you share with us a little bit more about who you are and what you do in this human realm?
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you again. And yes, man, what a beautiful first connection, right? And it's amazing what's taken place in this last year. So, just speaking into that aspect and what I offer, I would say, I used to put myself in the realm of status and title and placed myself in that space. But I feel now that what I offer is what I am. The wisdom that I hold, the lessons that I learn, that's what I am, that's what I speak, that's what I offer. The biggest gift that I feel like I get to co-create with others is the remembrance of their empowerment and their sovereignty and the journey into the recognition of the soul, which is so multifaceted. And so I would say the work spans across all aspects of this human journey, embodiment, shadow work, somatic practices. Of course, we've got toning and light language and all those things that are incorporated, but those are literally all a part of this moment to moment experience that we get to journey through. And so my work is just coming together with others and helping them remember that they hold the power to quite literally manifest this entire experience. And that, literally to embody the earth. I mean, and what a wonderful thing that is. And so the one thing I always tell those that I work with in my group is that, I'm not here to heal you, and I guess you could say a guide, but I'm here to remind you of your power. I'm here as a mirror of your power. I'm here to remind you that you literally hold everything inside of you. And I just get to be the mirror that reflects that back to you. So I like to think that I get to do it with people. I don't stand above them. I don't tell them like I don't hold something that they don't hold. They get to learn together with me. So everything and literally that's every single day I learn something from those that I work with. I'm not just teaching, I'm learning. So I like to think of it as being a student and a teacher and exploring this realm, which is it's human, but I feel like the biggest thing that we get to remember is that the divinity is not external, it's internal. And I feel like that's really what this human journey is about. And I know we kind of hear that, and it might be kind of cliche, but it really is. When you remember that there's no good, there's no bad, there's no right, there's no wrong. Every choice you make is divine, loved, supported, honored. When you begin to really remember that, you remember yourself as the source. And that's what I like to be there exploring and experiencing with others, where they have that moment where they remember that, oh, I do have the power. I have the power. Like it's here. It's right here. It's right here. It's right now. I can feel it. And then they remember that it was never out of their hands, but always within. So, yeah,
So
that's it. That's
beautiful.
it.
Thank you so much. I felt my whole cells like tingling when you were expressing that. Uh,
Oh,
you express yourself in such a beautiful way, and
oh,
I feel like because it is so, because you are so in your body, people like feel they can open up in that way, you know. because it's like on one level, it feels very, very beautiful. I
Mm.
love your transmissions very, very much.
Thank you. I love yours. I really do. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's, and and that what's so interesting about that is for so long, speaking of this work that I just mentioned that I offer, which really isn't work, it's just play, remembering, playing. I disconnected myself from people because I thought that I had to do it alone. I felt like I needed to do it alone. I had this whole concept and this whole belief of I can do this because I had that idea that, well, I'm omnipresent, I'm divinity, I'm powerful. Like, of course I can do it by myself. I can do it on my own. And the most like the I feel like one of the most powerful messages I would like to just drop in really quickly is that when we have mirrors, like you are for me, like I am for you, the journey becomes so deep and feel so much more because we remember that we're never alone. And not only that, but that we don't have to do it alone. That we really like, I feel like that's what the whole community part is about is like you get to explore the depth of your mirrors and the depth of yourself through the connection with others. And when you allow that, when you really allow that, you see just how safe and secure you've always been. Not because you have to have them, but
Mhm.
because you get to receive them. And that's the fun of it. You get to. You don't have to, you don't need to, but you get to. And that right there just opens up a whole space of play where it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like you're missing out on something. And I feel like that's a really powerful place to play in for sure.
It is. Thank you so much for bringing this in. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's like a thing to open up as like I don't know, in the spiritual world and really like connect on a deeper level with people that are still people and not like thinking they are something else, but just connecting on a human base and sharing in the rawness of the human experience in that way. So, so important. And I love that. Thank you so much for bringing this in. So,
You're so
it,
welcome.
oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. So, um, to
I know. Loving it.
me too. I'm very, very excited for this. I felt like, I don't know, meeting somebody very, very special today. Um,
Oh, likewise.
but yeah, it feels very, very special. So, but to dive a little bit deeper into the journey of your human, would you feel like sharing a little bit more about yeah, you growing up in this world, like navigating the human experience in a way, if one can say that. And yeah, whatever you feel like sharing with me and our beautiful listeners at this point in time.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like, it's very interesting with many of the ones I've connected with on this journey. I feel like I probably have a similar childhood. I think like most of us probably do. But I grew up in a very beautiful family. I love my family. But it was a religious household. It was based in deep Southern Bible Belt cultural beliefs. So a lot of religion. But there was a heaviness I carried around that for a while. But I'm so utterly grateful for it now because it allows me to understand myself on a deeper level, like all things. But growing up, I don't remember much, honestly, from my childhood since and I'll speak on this a little bit later on, but since Éoaccí walked in, Jessica is my birth name and
Oh,
that identity of me, that personality of me. And I don't have access to much, but what I do remember is I would sit in my bedroom when I was real young, probably like 3 years old, and I would always ask the question, who am I?
wow.
Who am I? Like, who
Wow.
am I? Who am I? And I would say it in these different ways, like, who am I? Who am I? who am I? And that still, like, it still hits me so deep. I can connect to that moment, and I just felt myself like peering through the looking glass of a soul that was on the brink of breaking free but wasn't quite ready, and so as I continued on my journey, I grew up, like I said, beautiful household, beautiful family, never really found joy in anything though. Like school, boring. I couldn't do it. It was just like, I mean, I went to college but didn't finish. I had the intelligence, but it just didn't make sense to me. Religion didn't make sense to me. I would ask questions all the time, and then I would get in trouble for asking questions because what I was hearing was like not making sense. And so I questioned everything. And of course, people don't like that because it doesn't fit you in the box that they want you to be in. So my life started kind of taking a downward spiral. I got on drugs really bad. I lived the majority of my adult life on drugs and in the throes of addiction. And then I ended up homeless. And I was homeless right as I started this journey 5 years ago. It hasn't been too long. Living on the streets, without food. I would steal for food. And I have to say, in that time period, I saw the darkest of the dark, the deepest of the deep. I was in a relationship that was highly abusive. I had a miscarriage because of the abuse. So I went to the end and I was ready to just throw in the towel. And but it just couldn't happen because I had a higher purpose, right? It wasn't time. And that's when I finally made the choice to do something different. And I have to give credit to I call him my soul child, but he's my little fur baby, Bruiser. He stepped in right as I began my journey. And the main reason why I didn't commit suicide was because of him. I was worried, like, okay, well, who's going to take care of him, I knew something bad would probably happen to him. So I stepped away from that 5 years ago. And ever since then, it has been an intense journey of self-discovery. Like, I had many highs, many more lows. I hated life. I had such emotional imbalance. And the day that I realized I was basically still kidding myself. This is about 2 years in, I had started connecting to Éoaccí. But with all the information I could bring through, I felt like I was still living a lie. And I remember I was outside one day. My grandmother was really, really sick. She was getting ready to pass away, and I was just so angry at life. And then I had this realization as I was blaming everyone around me. I just heard, you're the narcissist too. You're the aggressor too. You're the attacker, and you're also the victim. And it was in that moment that I realized that, it's all me. Every bit of this anger, every bit of this addiction, every bit of this spiraling out of control, it's all me. It's all me. I wasn't abused by someone else. I was abusing myself. I was not seeing my self-worth. So of course somebody like that steps in. Of course they have to show me how unworthy I believe I am, right? Of course I can't see my family for the love that they carry for me because I don't see the love within myself. Of course I'm so angry. Of course there was so much suppression. So even though Éoaccí was stepping in, she couldn't fully come in because Éoaccí is wisdom, and wisdom comes from depth of self. And my life up until that point was definitely not holding depth. I had, I could tell you whatever you wanted me to tell you. I could channel it. I could talk about things. I had intelligence, that I didn't fully apply all the time, but I had it. And I have a family, I moved back in. I have a family that loves me, that supports me, but I was so unhappy. And that's because I thought happiness existed somewhere else. And that's when I really started stepping into Éoaccí, was when I started understanding that it was all me. And I feel like when I heard those words, like, you are the narcissist, that was a big wake up call. And I'm actually really surprised I actually believed it. But I did, because I could see it. I could see that it wasn't just these people that were doing things to me, it was me. And I was the one that was thinking that way. And then I started realizing half the things that I think don't even happen. It's just all in my head. So, I would say I've had a lot of lessons, a lot of really beautiful life experiences, but also a lot of really tough ones. And I feel like that's also been the greatest gift, because fear is not something I recognize. And I feel like that's because I went to such depth of fear, like fear for my life, quite literally fear for my life, and then not even caring about my life anymore. But I feel like those are the lessons that the soul signs up for, to truly experience separation. And I'm grateful for that depth of separation, because it's given me an opportunity to really understand, from my experiences, from my perception, what unity feels like.
Wow.
Because that unity is just coming back to the self with self-love. Like, I hated myself so much that I was quite literally, just destroying my body. I was destroying my mind. I was letting other people destroy my body. I was letting other people destroy my mind, letting them destroy my emotions. Of course, they're just me pushed out, but I was letting that happen. And that's because I didn't care, I didn't care. But I now see that as exactly what it was. The best gift my soul could have given me, the best gift my oversoul could have given me, was every single one of those. Because I would not be sitting here right now. I would not be offering what I offer if I did not have those lessons, because those stories were what led me to where I'm at right now. Like, first it was being courageous enough to tell the story, and then it was being courageous enough to recreate the story and no longer live from that story anymore. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey for sure.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing so honest and raw.
Yes.
I'm so, so,
Yes.
so grateful that you are here, and that you chose life. And yeah, you chose to walk the path and open up and discover the depths of your being, and also share with the world everything, all the beautiful offerings that you share with all the beautiful souls. I feel relieved that you are
Thank
here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Oh,
you. I appreciate that.
so this is like very coming, having experienced everything that you chose to experience, to come to this point of like making this choice of staying, and feeling and seeing your life changing, and yourself changing with the experiences and with the decisions that you made, and on a very conscious level. This is like, could be the first realization of being a creator, if I might say that. Is that, does it feel, is
Yes. Yeah.
okay? And I
Very
chose
resonant.
like, I chose like a special theme for you for this episode that I wanted to dive into with you, which is the power of creation. And I'm like slowly realizing why I chose it. And it's it's very beautiful to have this realization moment with you here. And I would love your take on, what does it mean to be or become a conscious creator in this experience called life.
That's a great question. For me, Where I'm at now in the perception I hold, I would say being a conscious creator is being an awareness, a presence of awareness, a fine-tuned awareness. One of the things I always share with those that I work with is that even if you think nothing is happening, there are things happening. Always. I mean, in every heartbeat, in between every heartbeat, there is always movement. Things are happening. And when your awareness becomes so fine tuned, no matter what's happening, not only are you aware of it, but you get something so deep from it that you use it to recreate and master the next step, like not even just the next step, the next moment of your journey. And I would love to use an example if that's okay, because it seemingly so simple, but there was so much power in it. So I was working in this theme with my mentorship group, and we were working on just, going in. We do these embodiment practices to see what stories are at play, where are they at play in your body. If you want to see when they begin, that's fine. You don't have to, but the point is to have the story come forward so you can recognize it, right? Is it in the physical plane? Obviously, at that point it is, but where is it holding itself in the mental plane? Where is it holding itself in the emotional? Where is it in the soul plane? And just reviewing all those things and then recreating the moment, so that your body remembers a different experience. Instead of trauma, instead of suffering, instead of disease, instead of discomfort, you rewrite it and you engulf your senses in that moment. And so I was practicing this, and I was practicing it just from a space of like, if I lived the utmost luxurious, opulent lifestyle, what would that look like, right? Would I live the yachts? I would be eating Dubai chocolates. I would be going on trips. I would be seeing all my beautiful sisters. Like, I was exploring all of this, and I was watching people eating in these shorts. I was watching people eating these, pretty expensive pastries. And I love it. The ASMR is like crunchy, and you can hear it, and all your senses are in it, right? Like, I just love the sound of the crunch. And I was just so engulfed in it. And so in like literally 2 days later, my mom brings me these, first and foremost, she brings me like three of my favorite casseroles. And then she brings me these chocolate covered peanut butter rolls that I love. And even though I hadn't asked for them, I wasn't like, really feeling like I actually even wanted them. But I was like, okay, well, cool. I mean, and so I, later on that day went in there and took a bite. And in that moment, I heard the crunch. And I had this realization, because my senses were just fully in the moment. I was tasting, I was hearing, I was feeling, and I had the realization that I manifested this. Like, this was brought to me. I didn't have to ask for it. It was given to me. She wasn't even going to that place that day, but it was pouring down rain. She decided to drive 20 minutes out of her way to go get these things just because she thought I would enjoy it. And in that moment, I realized I manifested this. I literally brought this into my reality, and I learned that the depth of perception was in the moment when my senses were fully engulfed and I was creating the story from a space of acceptance and play. And now I had been doing this, but there was something about, like, I don't feel like I had been fully incorporating my senses. And so it gave me a moment of just such powerful realization that this is my power coming back to me, and how abundant I am in my power. And I also had that realization. I shared this in a reel on Instagram when I was exchanging with a sister in my group, and she had a lump come up on her breast. And the first moment, what do we normally think? Oh my gosh, it's cancer, right? Fear, lump, fear. And so that's been imprinted in her body since that moment. And I asked her, I said, have you fully engulfed yourself in living a different moment? That's that's our creative power. We don't have to be a byproduct of our past. If we harness the present moment, if we consistently fine tune our awareness, we can create, and we can create abundantly. We literally are the living, breathing universe and moment and emotion. We are the infinite intelligence. We have the power. We are here to master physical reality, material reality. That's what we're all here for. To remember that we can forget and then remember again, and that we have the power to not only forget, but to remember how powerful we are. And sometimes, it's easy to get caught up in exploring the external factors, but when you return to the self, you remember what it's like to create planets. You remember what it's like to create galaxies because you're creating something in your physical dimension and you're experiencing it, you're tasting it, you're hearing it. And in that moment, you're the creator. You're conscious and aware of your own creation. It's like the moment that I said, okay, let's explore luxury. It's like when in the Bible it says, let there be light. The creator remembers that the words are the power, and the power comes from being a conscious application of self. If I'm aware of myself in the moment, then I am creating. The awareness is the gateway. And so being a conscious creator is a practice of stepping into and knowing thyself, truly, deeply, fully, and completely, and being willing to allow that to be seen with such transparency. Like I tell people, if I share anything with you privately, like I don't care if you go and tell the world. I don't care if you share our private messages. Like I want it to be a tool for growth. There's no secrets. There's nothing that's private. Use it as a tool. Use everything as a tool to create with and learn how powerful you are. And the more that we tune into ourselves, the more we fine tune that awareness, because the reality that we create is in here. It's not what we see out there. That's not what we're observing. We think we are, but we're not. We're observing here when eyes are closed, when we're present, when we're consciously breathing. That's where our power is. And I can tell you, that's the literally. I don't. It doesn't matter what I'm doing now. It's like I can have this most powerful realization, and it just happens like all the time, just because every moment is a tool for growth. Every moment is a tool for realization. And so I don't have to go seek it anywhere. It just finds me because, when you consistently fine tune, it's there. So, our awareness is absolutely our gateway, and fine tuning that is an ever consistent process. It's never done. It's never done. And I love it. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much. That was literally, I don't know,
You're so
poetry to listen to what you just expressed.
Yeah.
So
I
perfect.
love it.
Wow. I'm Let's just let that sink into the field. That is what
I
I
hope
love.
it landed. I hope it landed. I hope it made sense. Did it make sense?
It came full circle, like all the way. It was like very, very beautiful to witness, and I feel honored that I have the privilege to witness this. And yeah, very excited for all the beautiful souls who, are tuning into this at whatever point in time they are tuning into this. And that's what I love about your transmissions. You like always put emphasis on how important it is to create from the here and now, like from this moment, not to like focus on future scenarios or like being stuck in like past emotions and patterns and or something else. I resonate with that very much, and it's so beautiful how powerful you describe this process of like being a creator in this moment and the unfolding of that like in the moment, and the result with your mama bringing you this beautiful pastry. Of
Yes.
course.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And what's so interesting about that too? It's so powerful. It just dropped in. When we chase what we desire, we think we're supposed to chase our desires. But our desires can mislead us if we're not aware of our behavioral patterns, because a lot of times we chase what we think we want, but we don't have an awareness of what we need. And that's another thing that I like to also bring awareness to, because I wasn't desiring that pastry. I mean, I was living in this sensory perception of enjoying a multitude of things, but I wasn't chasing it. I was just enjoying it because it felt good to receive it. and just enjoying the plethora that was my senses were immersed in. And so I wasn't chasing it, which is why it came immediately to me, is because I wasn't desiring it. I was just playing in the field of creation. And I feel like that's a very important thing to remember. If you try to chase it because you feel like you have to have it, or you feel like you can't live without it, you're going to push it away. So just remember, it's about playing as a creator, like a child that's building a sandcastle or that's making a finger painting. You're just playing and you're having fun and you're living as if in that moment, that's it. That's it. That's it in the moment. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It's not in some future scenario, like you said.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with what happened the moment before. It's just enjoying every single moment as an independent opportunity to create and receive. And that's really powerful. That way you're not trying to weigh one moment against the other as if one moment is more important than another, and that can never be. So every moment is equally important. Every point of creation is equally important. And if we explore it in that way, then we simply just love what it is we receive, because we're not trying to force something specific to come in. We're just like, oh wow, that's wonderful, thank you. Wow, that's amazing, thank you. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful, thank you. And even if it's maybe something that I didn't really want, obviously at some point in time I told the universe I needed it. So I'm gonna use it. So it's
Oh,
always something good to remember.
yes. This, this is so amazing and so important because or I speak for myself now, I do like weigh moments against other moments. Like when something
Yeah,
like so
we're
high
all
up
guilty.
and then
Yeah.
something so low, or things are just normal. Can we not just enjoy the normality of life, like the normal things, just writing or making tea or something like that? Ah, thank you so much
Yeah,
for bringing awareness
you're
to
so
this.
welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And with
Yeah.
all of these like important like golden nuggets that you just dropped in, is there still something that you feel like that you could like, I don't know, give the souls that are listening on the way to like, yeah, create in a more, even more fruitful way? Is there something that is coming through?
Yeah, I would definitely say, to piggyback on what I just said, always remember, I mean, even if you got to write it on a sticky note and put it somewhere, put it on your wallpaper on your phone, set an alarm on your phone, do something, but remind yourself that every moment is a gift. And if you unwrap it like a gift, you remember that what's inside that moment is exactly what you wanted at some point in time. And you're existing in like literally the fourth dimension is time. And as we intersect time, we think the 3D moves, but the 3D is so slow. It's so slow, bless its heart. It's so slow. But it's like it's got a little movement, but it's pretty slow. We have to remember that by the time we receive it, we have behavioral patterns, we have thoughts, we have beliefs in a parallel life that is transmitting to the universe, and we're overlapping simultaneously. In the fourth dimension, we are literally this cube of infinite blocks of moments.
Wow.
And in this tesseract, we're just existing infinitely, living these moments over and over until we realize from a higher space of self that those don't have to repeat that way.
Mm,
And so really, when people are seeking this like higher self connection, your higher self is just a higher awareness of yourself. It's literally the version of you that no longer views that moment in the same way anymore. You've moved through it, you've moved past it, you've learned a lesson, and the lesson exists in here, so you're no longer seeking it out there. But if you can unwrap the moment like a gift, and remember in that tesseract, you've got an infinite amount of gifts to unwrap. You're always going to get what you need. You're always going to get what you need. And you spoke about like the ups and downs
mm,
about the moments where they can be compared and contrasted and
mhm,
weighed against one another. When you feel emotions coming in connection with the moment, I always, the one thing I tell my group is, first and foremost, don't try to milk the moment. You don't need to force anything else out of the moment. You already have everything you need. You don't need to try to milk it and force, and like, you have everything you need right there in that moment. If you can just accept that, and you can also accept that it's a gift that you at one point in time said you wanted, then you get to play in the field of perception of like, okay, so what do I think about this moment? Why do I feel this way about this moment? What is my body saying about this moment that makes me think that I'm not safe, that I'm not secure, that I don't want this, that I don't like this? What version of me is operating? And when we begin to really understand, literally, because every moment is unique, and we understand what version of us thinks that way, feels that way, believes that way, then we can accept that version of us unconditionally and say, okay, well, thank you. And that way, when it shows up and when things are happening externally, you don't become so emotionally involved because you're so emotionally involved in here. And so you don't become overwhelmed from out there. And everything, and you can also use everything out there for what it is, which is a mirror. It's telling you a story of yourself back to you, you know? I mean, if you find yourself like, I found myself comparing myself to other people, I found myself judging a commercial on TV. And I remember the last time I did that, I was like, who am I to say something about a commercial on TV? Who am I to judge this for? Like, literally, who am I? And I'm like, okay, all right, let me sit down. Who am I in this moment? Like, who am I? Who is this version? And there was a lot that came through. So even in that moment of judgment, I realized, like, again, look at that, full circle. The very first question I asked myself as a child, who am I? Who am I? And then I'm still asking that question, but with a greater awareness of the answer that follows. And the answer that follows, and I feel like the one thing that most people are so afraid of is that people know who they are. And
Wow.
they try so hard to find, they hide behind. Yes, I'm connected to my cosmic ancestors and my oversoul, and I express light language, but I'm also aware that there was a version of me that expressed light language that was very heavily egoically driven. And there's a version of me now that understands that and can look back on that version and love her anyways, but can see why she did the things she did. In that moment, when I started realizing that version of me, which was about a year ago, I had so much judgment towards others that I saw doing the same thing. But then I had to realize, and I had to accept, and it was not easy to accept, but I had to accept that if I can see it in another person, it lives in me. It doesn't live in them, it lives in me. They're not the ones doing it. I'm projecting. This is my scene. This is my creation. These are my mirrors. And I'm living in a moment that I created for myself. So that was a big pill to swallow. That was a big pill to swallow, to say, okay, wow, yeah, that's all me. Again, it goes back to that moment of one of my first realizations. It's all me. And I see so many people, and I know in the spiritual communities, that I feel are afraid to be seen for who they are. I feel like there's a lot of hiding and bypassing. I feel like if they're like me, I thought it was going to take away from those that wanted to work with me or stand with me or walk beside me. And I feel like just tapping into the whole conscious creatorship. To be a conscious creator, we have to be aware and fully transparent about ourselves. This is an age about revelation, sharing your truth. And truth is not just what you know.
Yeah.
It's what you live. It's what you are. And if you can show up and you can share with the world, like I've told people in my lives, like, yes, I've spoken from ego. I've come at you guys from ego. I've sat up on a high horse, like I know everything and you need to listen to what I'm saying. I've done that. And I can understand why people probably didn't really want to receive it, because it feels very, very agitating to the nervous system. But if we can be willing to be upfront and forward about all that, and feel and understand there's no good or bad, there's no secrets, there's nothing to hide. Just be share your story, share your truth, allow it to be seen, allow yourself to be vulnerable. Identifying with your Pleiadian or Arcturian or cosmic counterpart is not going to cover that up. It's going to speak through you no matter what. And when you're in connection with those that hold depth, they hear it anyways. And so the best thing to do is to reveal it within yourself and accept those parts of yourself so that you're not swayed, so that you're not projecting onto other people. And most importantly, I'll close with this, most importantly, so that you can open your receiver line and be a true receptive feminine. Because
Wow.
that's the feminine. The feminine receives the projections from the masculine within themselves and holds them in a space of acceptance and doesn't consistently portray it out there in a way that's unconscious and denial, like, or based in denial. So that true feminine is the ability to open that receiver line and receive the self clearly and fully. And
Wow.
that's right there with that conscious creatorship.
I'm so celebrating. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank
Yes.
you for bringing awareness to this and for dropping this into the field and into the space. This feels very, very important.
Mm.
You like, it took me a long time to realize that, yeah, what is out there is also in me. So, thank you for that reminder. And yeah, I think it like comes back in spirals where you're like, you have these judgment moments, then you're like, ah, like you explained,
Yes.
you shared in this place. So, but it feels very, very important to even like, I don't know, at some point come to this point and be like, oh shit. I don't know if one
Oh,
can like,
yes. That's pretty much what I said. I can't blame anyone anymore.
yes. And then I don't know. It's like, but when you start like judging yourself or like becoming aware of or creating or like there are these people and they are like parts of you is like moving away the thing that always solved the problem. You know what I mean? Is it like just
Mm.
I don't know, that's what's coming up right now. I don't know. Is it like just shifting?
Yeah, for me, okay, so I've noticed on my journey and with those that I work with, for me, and I've crossed paths with those that are similar, but the choices that I make around that seem to be pretty drastic to some. When I notice that some things that like I'm operating in a space that's not aligned to sovereignty, and let me be clear, a year ago I was talking a lot about sovereignty. I really had no clue what that meant. I was like again like speaking words like sovereignty, embodiment, unity consciousness, returning to source. Those are like we hear so much and we infiltrate these words into our vocabulary. But a lot of times, like you just mentioned, the importance of bringing something into the awareness
Mhm.
is more, it goes deeper than just hearing it. It goes
Mhm.
into the space of practicing it. So like letting people, when I noticed like I was in a space that these versions of me that I really needed to work with were in operation, I just closed it all out. I mean, I left every event, every co-facility, everything. I dropped it all. I just said, I'm sorry. I can't do this. I can't move forward. I didn't do the next co-facilitation. I didn't do I was supposed to go to Shasta last year. And
Mhm.
like the week that before I was supposed to go, I canceled it. I paid back my plane ticket. Like I just stepped away. I shut everything down. And I want to say for me, making that choice was easy because it was harder to go and pretend
Mhm.
that everything was okay and just operate in this aspect of me that I knew was not holding truth. I felt like I was living a lie.
Mhm.
And if I was to continue onward, how would that really be of service because service is a frequency. It's not a job. It's not something we do.
Mm.
It's what we live. It's how we live, really. It's an internal frequency. It's if you're in coherence, if you're in harmony, you serve the collective through your coherent frequency. You hold the space of harmony and balance and you transmit it so beautifully. It's the song of creation. It's playing and it's clear. It's like a fine-tuned piano, and you play so clearly, and it clears the field, and that's the service. So if you show up attempting to do a job because you view it as I need money or I need to help people.
Mm.
For me, that's what was in motion when I stepped away. That doesn't serve.
Mm.
It serves the story, it serves the behaviors, but those are the ones I want to change. So I cut everything off and I walked away. And I cocooned myself. It was just like me and my mentorship group, and I cocooned myself from everything and everyone. I'm grateful I did that. I am very grateful. I'm not saying that people need to do that at all. For me, it was what was necessary.
Mhm.
But at the same time, if you stay cocooned for too long, you don't have an external reflector. You don't have challenging perceptions to
Mhm.
challenge the way that you think, feel, and believe. And that's why it's so important you access what you connect with others that have differing opinions, differing beliefs, differing reflective surfaces. Because if you're just with those that agree with you, you're
Yeah.
never going to grow ever. And never going to see all parts of yourself. And those that I work with have said, we don't hate you, but my gosh, Éoaccí, do you bring some stuff up? Like, there's, like, even if they don't want to share it, like, I hear it, like that's what happens when you go deep is somebody can say one thing and you hear every behavioral aspect, every story. You hear every part of themselves in that, whatever it is they're sharing,
Mhm.
and whatever it is they didn't want to share still comes through, and you hear it and you hold that space. And that's what the clarity of self is. And when you give yourself that space and that time, and you
Mhm.
do choose to let those mirrors go so that new mirrors can come in, you
Beautiful.
will see with greater clarity. Yes. I mean,
Ah.
I feel honestly, I'm going to say it's necessary to cut the cord in a
Mm.
not just thoughts wise, emotional, so mental, physical, like all levels of consciousness, mental, physical, emotional, and soul, because that's keeping you connected to a very specific paradigm. And in
Mhm.
order for you to have a paradigm shift and to be in a different version, you have to allow all of that to come in, be reclaimed, and then be recreated through you. So yeah, I would definitely say letting go is a gift. And like I always heard, release to receive,
Wow.
release to receive. That's what I've always heard. So if you release, you receive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for shining a light
Yes.
on this. Yeah, I feel like sharing that I did the same, and I cut all the
Mm.
cords on all levels too, and I called everything like about, yeah, just did the thing that needed to
Yes.
be done.
Feels
So
good, doesn't it?
it felt very,
Mm.
very good. I felt very scattered for this time period that I experienced some things, like really not feeling like myself. But the more I like came back to what felt like my truth, what felt like my path, I felt like, yeah, my strength coming back in a way. You know what I mean? And I
Yes,
love,
absolutely.
thank you. I love that you brought this in, because I was really asking myself if it's the way, but yeah, it resonated very much with like, yeah, leaving space for new experiences and new people to enter one's life, and also the decision to like following what feels truthful to you, and what, yeah, not playing anything or anyone, just like, yeah, it's very inspiring to witness and to also feel the resonance in that, and yeah, parallels in experiences. And I, yeah, feel deep gratitude for you, and for sharing that in such a beautiful way. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. So happy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, you mentioned so beautifully that awareness is the key and being aware, becoming aware. So, when I say, like, being aware, with awareness comes responsibility, is that like something that puts heaviness on it? How do you feel
No,
about that?
no, no, that screams freedom. That screams freedom because awareness is like, if you just want to say it most simply, you exist as awareness. If you did not have the ability to dial into your five senses, you would still be aware. You would still know that you exist. And awareness is the gateway. And honestly, responsibility has to pass through that gateway. Because if you're aware of something and you do nothing about it, then you basically you're transmitting that, I'm okay with things staying the same. I don't need to learn this lesson. I don't need to do anything different. And no matter what you say, no matter what you talk about, your frequency is going to transmit that, you might know a lot of things, but that doesn't mean you have embodied a lot of things. And there is a vast difference between knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom is that frequency of an awareness that holds itself in responsibility. And every single time, if you really, really are wanting to ascend, an ascension is just an awareness that's fine-tuned and it's rising and it's higher. It can hold, the higher you go, the deeper you go. So ascension is depth of self. And the deeper you go within yourself, the more aware you become of everything. And if you're really and truly wanting to experience change, you lock into the responsibility, and it's not a job. And that's the one thing I know everyone, especially with those, like I said, this is things that I do every single day with every single person that I mentor is, it seems like we all tend to approach it as a job. Like when we hear the word responsibility, right, we do think it's heavy. We think that means I'm gonna have to do so much in order to have things be different, right? And it just was like, people hear that word and they're like, I don't want to. Like, you just like become that little kid that just doesn't want to do anything. But responsibility, everything is polarized. So if you want to look at the other side of the coin, responsibility is a gateway to freedom. And this means that, okay, if I'm aware of a behavior and I understand that there have been moments that have been happening recently and in the not so distant past, or maybe in the distant past, that I didn't really enjoy. I didn't really like them that much. Yeah. And I would like to experience something different. Well, it is my responsibility as a conscious creator to do something different. And that doesn't mean I take physical action. It means I take internal action. And that internal action is operating 24/7. You don't have to technically physically do anything different. At first, just the awareness of the patterns themselves, which are happening all the time. So this means you just go through your day as you normally do, and you start to remind yourself to acknowledge what's really happening. Like make notes, like I said, set an alarm, do something and say, okay, like, why am I thinking this way? Why am I believing this way? Why am I behaving this way? Why is this showing up? That's the responsibility, is asking why. Just like in the movie The Matrix, you've already made the choices. You're just here to understand why. So you just live your life. And if you want to live it a little bit differently, you hold the awareness as to why it's happening the way it's happening right now, so that you unlock the access to the difference. The difference is the understanding of why. But if you don't ask, nobody's going to tell you. You have to ask. That's where your higher awareness, that's where your higher self steps in and says, okay, cool. So you're taking interest, you're taking responsibility. All right, let me start presenting you with some deeper revelations, because the higher self doesn't, at least in my experience, doesn't, when it comes to like DNA activations or crystalline templates and all these things, again, we have all these words for things that plays a part, but our higher self is simply the version of us that holds the wisdom that we're chasing after. And if we don't tune in, then it's always going to be like a dog chasing its tail.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always going to seem like, I don't know, that we need another, I don't know, we need something else to fill that void. So responsibility is simply just reminding yourself that every single, again, it goes back, every single moment is a gift, and you can unwrap that gift in every moment. That's your responsibility, is just to ask why. Why am I being gifted this moment in this way? There's your responsibility. Why? Write it down, do some automatic writing. It takes a few minutes. Boom, you have a deeper understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Then the embodiment practice is to start recreating it from within the nervous system. Now, that, yes, you do have to apply some meditation, but I feel like for those of us those that are tuning in, I feel like that's probably not going to be that big of a deal to even say, hey, might want to add that into the routine because it's probably already there. So yeah, the responsibility is just comes in
I love
asking why, not because you have to know, not because you have to know, because you get to understand. You
wow.
get to understand who you are in the answer. And that's the greatest gift you can give yourself is that understanding.
This is so, 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 so beautiful. And I love how you like described the unwrapping of the present moment.
Yeah.
That's so
That should make
beautiful.
that inner child feel pretty good. It's like, yes, we get to
Yeah.
explore and have fun and unwrap it. Works for me anyways.
Well, I feel that very much. It's very beautiful because every moment is a gift. And yeah, if one can look at it that way, it's like it makes it makes it like more fun.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that's, that's I feel like and sometimes, you know, the deeper you go, it almost, and I want to remind those, especially when you've done this for a little while. Sometimes I know a lot of us, we feel like we're like tired. We're tired of doing the work. We've been showing up, we've been doing things, we've applied modalities. I've felt that same way.
Mhm.
And it really wasn't until I realized I had a lot of agenda and expectations connected to learning.
Mhm.
It was almost like I felt like it had to look a certain way. I felt like it had to be done a certain way. And I realized I had placed so much heaviness on the moment that I feel like I maybe said that something on the spiritual journey when some of us begin, at least for me, there was so much information. There
Mm.
was so much data. There was just so many big things. It just felt so big. It felt like this just massive space that I could never fully understand. And the deeper I went within myself, it was like the understanding started shifting from all of this out here to all of this in here.
Wow.
And now there's no external taking in of data. I don't take in anything else. It's like if I require a deeper understanding, I turn inwards. It's inwards. It's always been in here. And I feel like the way that we train ourselves to become a clear channel of ourselves is we dial down that external noise. You
Mhm.
don't have to take in so much information. You can hear more clearly when you don't.
Yeah.
And then you start to really look to the moment as a place to discover
Mhm.
because you're not so desperately seeking the next best thing out here, the next best offer. And I mean, I offer. So I'm saying that like don't start chasing the next best offering or I used to be really big around portal dates and eclipses and things like that. But when you start turning inwards, you realize like, oh, wait, hang on. But I'm the creator, which means that that is not happening to me. I'm the one transmitting the moment of opportunity. So, like, I'm the portal, I'm the gateway,
Mhm.
I'm the eclipse, I'm all of it. It's all connected to me. So, it just becomes then the moment has more to it, more substance, and you're not so overloaded with information.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
That makes all the sense. Thank you for this like powerful reminder. Yeah, when I reflect on like moments when I'm like on YouTube and you can like really be on YouTube for hours, and then you listen to this
Yes.
tarot reading and then you see this video of like what is happening in the skies, and then you're like so far away from where you should be, which is like what you said, like in the moment and being aware with what is in the moment. And yeah, thank you for bringing this
Oh,
in.
yes.
So,
Yes, I'm going to tell you right now that escapism, what you just mentioned, has been a big one for my group. Like you just don't even like you can go to post something and you could end up doom scrolling for 2 hours, you know? So, um, oh, it's like, and and we say we're practicing presence, and then I can account for a majority of my day that's on my phone or scrolling or doing something else. So I literally just as something to offer of what I do, I set an alarm on my phone.
wow,
And when that alarm goes off, I put my phone down and I step away. And I spend a few
amazing.
hours away from my phone. Yeah, like, and I go and I get outside. I spend time with my soul baby, my fur baby. I do something. I meditate, because if not, and just like kind of to sum this up, and it kind of sums up everything really beautifully so far, you will consistently live through the patterns of what you've been programmed into
Mm,
until you go into your reality, which is in your nervous system, which is through your five senses, and you become the parent of yourself and you repattern those systematic escapism loops where you're just unconsciously, where we unconsciously go and do something and we just consistently do it and we consistently behave and we consistently react and we just do all these things until we give our us as the universe a new stream of information, until we as the creator come in and say, nope, I want to see a different holographic expression, I want to experience something different, this is what I want, and you
mm,
project it onto the screen of self internally, eyes closed, because your eyes don't see, your eyes project, so eyes are closed, and you interject that into your nervous system. You place your reality in there and say, this is what I want, this is what I am, not what I want, I'm sorry, no, it's not what I want, it's what I am, because I don't want it anymore. It's here now, I'm living it now. Your body doesn't know the difference. Your body thinks it's already happened, which means that it's just going to transmit it as a memory. And guess what happens when we transmit memories?
mm,
We get it, it comes back around.
mm,
So if you want to live a different life, you need to implement different memories. You need to give your nervous system something else to live off of and enjoy the human template. I feel like sometimes, and I know I've gotten caught up in that, just escaping into all these other things. We chose this template as a seed of consciousness for a reason. We have everything in this nice little meat suit that we need, and it's all here right now. And I feel like that's the greatest discovery we can give ourselves.
mm. I love this. I love this. Ah, yeah. Yes, yes, yes to everything you just shared. Like, ah, thank you so much for bringing this in. So you you already like tapped into the topic of patterns, and this is also like one of the topics I felt like diving into with you. But I would love to start with like this concept of like the world being made out of like geometric forms and structures and patterns that are
Mm-hmm.
shifting and moving, and they call them like sacred geometry. Is there, it's very abstract when you like, I don't know, look at it for like, I don't know, I don't see like, Metatron's cube like being here with me, but it's here, you know?
Yeah. Hmm.
But still it's here, and it's like intersecting with our bodies and with the field that we are in. Is there something that you feel like dropping into the space in relation to these, like, I call them like universal patterns now, before we like dive into individual patterns and structures?
Yes, no, absolutely. So actually my last live, um, there's a part in the live, and it's on my YouTube if anyone wants to see it. I have my hands over my eyes like this, and I'm just like looking around like that because I realized I kept seeing, and I do that, it happens a lot with my eyes closed, but I see these geometric, it's not just an image of a shape, it's literally as if I was looking at a tesseract and there was an infinite array of these. It's almost like cookie cutter designs,
Hmm.
geometric shapes, but there's depth. There's actually like 6 or 7 dimensions to it, and or maybe more. And but I realized in that moment that when I had my hands over my eyes, I could see it just so clearly. And I actually had my eyes open,
Mm.
and with my hands over my eyes, and no matter if my eyes were closed or my eyes were open, I saw it so clearly. And the power of that was coming from the connection at the time, which was just reconnecting to the 6 dimensional body, which is that original image, the original, shall we say, geometric form of density.
Wow.
And it was transmitting the design. Now, the design wasn't always the same, but I could see it clearly and, of course, feel it vibrationally.
Mm.
Now, I would definitely say that absolutely, because I've seen it, I've experienced it, it exists. And for me, like I could say the closest reference to how I've experienced it is if you've ever seen the Matrix where the little things are coming down the screen, like the Matrix codes.
Yeah.
I've seen it like that. I've seen the data coming in, the holographic data, but I've also seen, it doesn't happen all the time, but I catch it sometimes.
Hmm.
And then of course I've seen it like that. Now, for me, the way that exists is we are all tones, all harmonic tones playing. We're each a song. We're a chord. We're each a chord of the universal song. And even though we have the sensory perception that we have in this experience, it's not always
Mm.
like that. So, but there is always photon waves, there's always light, there's
Mm.
always sound. And as they come together, there's this interweaving and patterning and shaping based on the transmission of the chord. So your chord is going to transmit a very specific design of the interweaving of not only the incoming photons of the universal chord, but as it comes into your specific tone, it has its own very, like your own thumbprint, right? Nobody has your thumbprint but you. And so you have a very specific thumbprint, and your tone nobody can play your tone. That's what your voice is.
Mm.
Your voice is your expression of that geometry. When you speak, just as Source said, let there be light, when you speak, you are repatterning that geometric field.
Wow.
You're speaking your truth, which is vibration,
Hmm.
sound. We know what sound does to sand when we see it, right? When a
Yeah.
certain frequency is played, it patterns it specifically.
Yeah.
So when we sound, when we tone, when we tone, or when we speak like this, which is the same thing as a long
Mm.
E, like that's a long E. When enough of those E's come together, it's just smaller fractals patterning itself, weaving itself, creating this reality. Now, we see it as a physical dimension, but behind that physical dimension is the song patterning itself again and again and again and again and again. And that very specific stream of data is your source code. It's coding its reality, it's coding its dream, and it's weaving its song so specific to you and only you. And so the collective is basically a collection of chords, each weaving their own dream.
Oh.
And we get a we think we see a collective of other people,
Mm.
but we don't. We see a collective of our beliefs. We see a collective of our fears. We see a collective of our joys, our
Mm.
loves, because what do you focus on? Those things. You notice that which you resonate the most with. And that's because it's a reflection of you. It's all you, every bit of it. You are the creator. We are not just a fractal of source. We are the source infiltrating itself into a design that just makes it appear as if it's somehow separate, but it's never been separate. You know, you right now, where you are in your dream, the fabric of you and the fabric of me are exactly the same. They just have a slightly different pattern, but they all weave together, they all braid together into the universal tone. And that is encompassing everything. And that's us too, because we can't be separate from source. We're made in source's image, yes, in a sense, but it's source creating the image of self through the patterns of forgetting.
Wow.
It's just source pretending to be something else for a while. So just as you pretend to be you and I pretend to be me, we're still also source pretending. And at the same time, we're still source together. So the patterns, the geometry, which I love, the patterns are woven everywhere. And the more I can, the very first time I started seeing them was when I really started going deeper into realizing myself. And I had a moment in a live for my group where it was that moment, kind of like when you said, oh shit, I had this realization, like, I felt myself as the hologram. I experienced myself as everything. I experienced myself as my parents. I felt myself as my parents, as this like matrix hologram in operation. And so in that moment, I was like, man, there's no more excuses, because that's me. That's me. They're me. Literally, they're not like just my parents. That's me. That's me. I'm the source. I'm the source. So that's all me. It's all me. So I do feel like when we truly connect into that, you can use it from a space of, if it's easier for you to connect to maybe the image or the internal recognition of it, you can harness that. And you can also harness it through tone and sound expression, but I do want to say, when it comes to tone, your voice is already the tone. You don't need to do anything extra to express toning. You exist as the tone. All you have to do is speak. That's it. And you're the source, you're the power, you are it already. So everything you say, it's already there. Your voice carries it so beautifully. So I absolutely do resonate with all of that. And I feel like, as the universal, as this geometric chord, if you will, this original chord, I feel like what happens is, every single time, like I mentioned, like every moment being a gift and every moment being independently unique, even if, let's say, a second ago and right now look very similar, I'm still, the vibrational pattern is slightly different, but the thumbprint is the same.
Wow.
It's my thumbprint. It's my tesseract. It's me. I am that, so when you, what I would say is, when you work with this, discover your thumbprint. Discover what your pattern is, and express that in its fullest. Just love and live that in every moment. I don't feel like you have to do anything specific or unique, and that's just from my own practices of having done that before. So yeah, I hope that response covers the question.
Thank you so much for bringing this in. I love that, because it takes like this pressure away that I feel like most of the spiritual community, or like in general people, have with like being, we need to do something, we need to be something. But thank you so much
No.
for, like, you mentioned that before
Yes.
in a very beautiful way, when you were talking about like everyone being like this musical chord at an earlier point, and I was like already like, oh, this is so beautiful that she brings that in, and yeah, taking this pressure away and just trusting that your unique expression is enough. And I hope that,
Yes.
yeah, this is landing with all the beautiful souls that are listening. It's definitely landing for me. So I am so, so, so grateful that you brought this in, and everything that you just shared about these geometric patterns and structures. And all the shifts and like shifting the patterns with, yeah, just being. I love that. I love
Just existing.
Yeah.
Yes. And every time, and it brings the awareness back into play in the conscious
Mm,
creatorship. When you're aware that you are everything, and truly, I
mhm,
mean, like you no longer just try to externally validate, you're not chasing, you don't have an agenda. Like I used to bring an agenda into activations, like,
mhm,
okay, I gotta know what's happening. I gotta know where the energy's at. I need to know
mhm,
who's saying what channeling, what cosmic beat, like what gateway. I was always searching for the next best thing so
mm.
that people could stay activated because I thought that that was the way I activated people
Wow.
until I started leaning into realizing that I exist as an activated state.
Mhm.
And so when I speak, I activate. When
Ah,
I when I just simply breathe, I activate. I am the tone. I am vibrating in every second. And I am always offering an activated state. So are you. Everyone is. It's nothing
ah.
that you receive from anyone else. When you are deep in internal reverence, like when your sovereignty is knowing thyself. That's what
Mhm,
sovereignty is. The more that you know thyself, you don't externally validate, you don't have an agenda,
mm,
you just like when you have realizations and you gain wisdom, you step up and you share it and you allow the world to hear your experiences. Your lived experience is the tone. It's the clearest, most sovereign space you can offer is your lived experience. Nobody else has that experience but you. That's sovereignty. And we try so hard to do things like other people and like
mm,
offer things like basically we've just consumed all this need to do things and all these agendas. But when you just show up and you just share who you are and you just speak, the geometry is already in motion.
mm,
It's already in motion. You do not have to do anything extra but learn who you are.
mm.
That's not even extra. That was already a part of the package. We're just remembering that. But when you know thyself, you play that geometry so clearly. And then the speed of the 3D begins to disintegrate.
Mm,
And you start realizing you are the master of this domain. You've always been the master. You've
mhm,
always been the creator. You've always held the power to instantly manifest anything. So, for that third pathway I've mentioned around conscious creatorship, when you resonate your tone clearly, the geometry is able to come up from the quantum and materialize instantly because you transmit a clear signal of self-worth, self-understanding, and knowing thyself. And the universe says, boom, I know exactly what you want because you're not sending a distorted signal anymore. I know exactly what you are. And I'm going to give you exactly what you are instead of all these different distorted signals of fractals of external love, external validation, the need to understand, the chasing, the lack, the scarcity. That's transmitting from the nervous system. And so we have so much that we're trying to figure out, and we're sending a signal that's never really clear.
mm.
That's because our receiver lines aren't open, our projector lines, our masculines doing all the work.
Oh,
If we
wow.
just sit and tune into the self, the receiver line opens. That's the rise of the feminine. That's the clarity of that flow. And then they begin to intertwine. And you can't really make it, then it's not about masculine or feminine anymore. It's about I'm constantly projecting, I'm constantly receiving, I'm constantly projecting, I'm constantly receiving. That's coherence, where they merge, they unify, the divine union, because you know thyself and you no longer identify with the personality.
Mm,
You identify with the depth. You know the why and you transmit and you master. So guess what? That gets rid of a lot of systems. When you manifest whatever you want instantly or whatever you need, we get away want would be lower basal, but whatever we need, the house, the land, whatever, it's there. You have it food instantly. You don't need the middleman of
mm.
money, which is why the systems have been collapsing.
Wow.
Because when your geometry, when your song plays clearly, you're transmitting a higher state of consciousness.
Mhm,
Consciousness in higher states is a merge of the self internally. and then it ascends into a higher pathway of learning, and it moves into a lighter density of self. And therefore, the lighter density means there's not that much tension between me and my manifestation. And my manifestation is me. So I don't have as much density. I don't have as much tension. I don't have as much resistance. It's instant. And that I feel like the biggest thing everyone can do is have faith. That was what Yeshua, that's what all the master teachers have taught. One of those cornerstones, the triangle, speaking of geometry, the triangle of creation. And faith is one of those cornerstones. Faith and coherence and intention. And when those three meet at each other, the geometry is clear. It's very clear. So if everyone could simply have faith in themselves and faith in their power, truly, that belief, that's where everything happens instantly. Water to wine, healing, your cells they come back together. Everything rejoins itself in harmony. But the responsibility is tuning into the self, immersing yourself in that point of creation. And the only time that exists, which is in the present, closing your eyes, that's the present, that's the now. You're suspended through past, you're suspended through future, you're in the quantum. Now you have everything at your disposal, and you can create worlds in that space. That's where your spirit comes in. So it's all here, it's all now, it's all available. We don't need anything but our own awareness, and that's it.
So beautiful. And I feel like this is a total full circle moment for us being here. And well, Éoaccí, I have to like process everything that you just like dropped into the space. It's like huge. And well, I recommend everyone that is feeling like resonance with what has been shared, like to check out all of your beautiful, beautiful channels. And I would love for you to like share where people can find you and anything you feel like sharing about upcoming like offerings or your beautiful community space that you mentioned, where like a lot is happening.
Yes, all the time, every day. So first and foremost, because you mentioned that, I do have a year-round group space, and it's month to month. You pay. It's not. The money isn't recurring. I just reach out to everyone, before their pay date and say, hey, you're gonna re-up for the month. They say yes. They say no. But it is a space of if you're really committed to pretty much everything we've covered here, and more. But it's a commitment to self. It is the ultimate commitment to self. And every single thing and every single reflection is you returning to yourself. It's not me telling you what to do or how to do it. It's me reminding you, reflecting to you how you get to proceed if you choose. But it's always on you, always your choice. The power is always given back to you. And there's so many revelations happening. So I connect with everyone pretty much every single day. It's a WhatsApp group. And then I also bring through at least one live a week to bring in basically where we just bring some deeper stuff. We anchor everything in, just check and see where everyone's at in terms of their sensory perception. Do we need to clean some stuff up so they can practice in their daily practices with greater clarity? But shadow work, embodiment practices and applications, somatic review, all that's there. And the payment range for that, I do like to work with people. So even though I'm going to, mention the range, please understand that everyone has an option to let me know if it's not doable. But the payment range right now is around 177 to 200. So, and that's for the full month of all that mentorship space and access 24/7 to me. I do have my one-on-ones open up right now as well. And this is where we go, obviously taking basically this deep dive into the nervous system and pulling anything up that's blocking you from living that reality that you want. Maybe you've got some patterns, some unrealized expectations, some agendas in motion. I'm not, when it comes to I don't channel, I don't project future, I don't do anything like that, but I can reflect some higher spaces of self to you to assist you on your journey. So I don't, I've listed myself as like an oracle and all this stuff before, but that just doesn't feel resonant anymore. So everything that I practice is returning to self. The one-on-one sessions are basically taking that mentorship field and compacting it into a shorter time. Those are 3-tiered. If you're just a beginner and you kind of want to get a feel for what the exchange feels like, it's $88. And everything is soul led. So really, it's yes around shadow work, it's around embodiment, it's around somatic practices, but we're going to cover whatever's there for you individually. It's all designed by you anyways. You're just stepping into and responding to that design. And then the next tier is 111. That's again a little bit longer time frame. The first one's about 45 minutes. The second tier is around an hour and 15. And then when we start getting closer to the 140 hour, 45, 2 hour range, that's 222 to 333. And that's obviously going to have a lot more depth to it. So I would recommend that for those that are a little bit more maybe practiced in the journey. The first two would be good for those that are maybe just beginning. So, and that's, oh, and I do have an upcoming, I offer free public lives on my YouTube. So you guys are more than welcome to check that out, and I will, provide that. So I have those coming through, and you'll know when those are posted. I'll post a post on YouTube, but also on Instagram, and that's at Éoaccí Éin or Aeon, which is Aeon, Éoaccí.Aeon. And you can find me there, message me on there. And I do have an upcoming offering that's going to be a little bit more private, but it's still free. Donations are welcome if anybody's interested. But we're going to go on a deep journey into the rediscovery and connection to the Ka body, which
Wow.
first and foremost, we will be doing some somatic review and pulling up any stories that are holding you. Think of it like if you were watching a VHS tape or something and it just kept looping on the same scene. Our
Yeah.
nervous system has those loops where it's just looping the same scene. So we're going to review and see what loops are there that are preventing your Ka, which is your whole image, your undistorted image, from regenerating the field, rejuvenating the cells, and assisting you. So it's going to be a deep dive. So if anyone's interested, that's coming up. I haven't set the date because I'm waiting to get a few more people locked in, but it is free. So if anybody's interested, I welcome you all. Probably in the next week or so, it'll be coming through. So, and then of course I bring stuff through on my YouTube. So my YouTube lives are pretty random. It's just I get a download like, hey, the collective could use this message, or I drop into my Instagram and share stuff. So it's totally organic. I'm not too good with scheduling things. So I did good to do this today, just so you know. I'm not too good at scheduling. I always get things mixed up. I really do. I'm like,
I'm so happy.
um, yes. Oh no, I'm so grateful. I love this. This was wonderful. So yeah, that's what I've got going on right now, and I'll make sure all those links are, available for you and for everyone that's listening. And I do hope to see more showing up for that offering. I would love for us to co-weave together. The last one was really powerful, like I shared with you. I about threw up. I had to like walk outside and plaster myself to a tree to ground because it was it was like it felt like liquid light just blasted through my nervous system and was like, hello. Yeah. That tree basically saved my life.
Wow,
So it was powerful.
yeah, it always feels powerful. I love your lives. I love tuning into your lives, and I like recommend to like everyone who's listening to definitely check them out, and yeah, hop on when you're live, because there's always something there. There's always something there. You just you are, I don't know, you are such a brain. You are really like, I don't know, just
Thank you.
next level aware of the things that are happening, like on all levels. It's like almost mind blowing to witness and receive, and I
Oh,
feel
thank
so
you.
grateful and honored that I have the privilege to like witness and experience and receive on that level, and just feeling like thanking you with all my heart for everything,
Oh,
for everything that you are, and yeah, for everything that you are and do and emanate into this world, what you share with the world, what you share with the people. And yeah, thank you for staying. Thank you for being here.
thank you.
I love you.
Aw, I love you. Thank you.
I love you so
I
much.
do. I appreciate you so much. I do. I thank you, and I thank you for allowing me to share. I hope I hope I hope sometimes I guess I hope I don't overload people.
No.
And I do hope that everything was well received and was able to be digested. And I always just tell people that, like, with the moment that you can unpack, just come back and unpack it and allow it to unpack itself through you. Know that everything is received, even if you think you don't understand it, you
Mm,
do. It's going to show itself through you in the moment when you're unpacking it, and it's going to reveal itself through you in the exact way it's supposed to. So that's why you don't have to worry about digesting. Like, you don't have, like, don't worry about whether or not you or will remember it or know how to apply it or anything like that. You can always do automatic writing and come back and write what feels resonant. But each one of us is such a powerful resonator and
mm,
receiver. And I know you and everyone listening has received with such great clarity and resonance. And I'm just so grateful for that. And if it feels like too much, just know it's going to unpack itself, and you can always come back and unpack more when you're ready. So I thank you. I love you. I'm so grateful for this. This has been so much fun. I've been so excited. I've been like hitting the table. Like, I'm sure people are going to see like a video going all over the place because I'm like,
no, you
I
were
keep
so
hitting.
perfect. You were so perfect. And I love everything that you shared. It was a perfect symphony. This is how it felt for me. It was so musical. Everything so musical. And I make sure that everyone can check out the links for everything that you are doing and sharing in the description box below. So check in, beautiful souls. Check in with Éoaccí and tune into her beautiful, beautiful soul song. So, with that said, I'm like thanking you and thanking everyone who tuned in and wrapping this up
Thank
with like,
you. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mm, beautiful.